Commander Zethkar watched in horror as the human delegation's transport vessel approached the mining station orbiting Kepler 442c. The readings on his scanner made his four eyes water with disbelief. Radiation levels that would cook a Vorthak in seconds, electromagnetic interference that could scramble neural pathways, and solar winds so intense they could strip flesh from bone. "Sir," his communications officer, Lieutenant Yix, chittered nervously, "the humans are requesting permission to dock." Should I warn them about the radiation storm?" Zethkar's mandibles clicked in what passed for dark amusement among his species. "They're already here, Lieutenant. Either they're suicidal or—" He paused, remembering the stories. The impossible stories that had been circulating through galactic space for the past few cycles. The docking bay's massive doors groaned open, revealing the sleek human vessel. Through the observation deck's reinforced windows, Zethkar could see the humans disembarking. They wore their standard-issue EVA suits, primitive by galactic standards, bulky and crude compared to the elegant radiation-dampening technology of more civilized species. "Incoming transmission from the human delegation," Yix announced. "Put them through." The main screen flickered to life, revealing a human face behind a helmet visor. Commander Sarah Chen, if Zethkar's briefings were correct, her species ambassador to the Outer Rim Mining Consortium. "Commander Zethkar," she said, her voice crackling through the comm system. "Thank you for accommodating our visit during such interesting solar weather." "Commander Chen," Zethkar replied carefully, "I must advise you that current radiation levels are approximately 47 times above safe exposure limits for most organic life forms. Our own crew is operating from shielded areas of the station." Chen's laugh was audible even through the static. 47 times? That's adorable. We had readings closer to 60 times normal on our way here. Beautiful aurora effects, by the way. Zethkar's translator implant struggled with the concept of adorable in this context. "Commander, perhaps you misunderstand the severity." "Oh, we understand perfectly," Chen interrupted. "In fact, the radiation exposure is exactly why we're here. My team has some questions about your mining operations." The human delegation made their way through the station's corridors, their heavy boots clanking against the metal flooring. Zethkar had assembled his senior staff in Conference Room 7, the most heavily shielded area available. Through the thick transparisteel windows, the roiling surface of Kepler 442c was visible, its atmosphere crackling with energy discharges that painted the gas giant's clouds in shifting patterns of electric blue and violent orange. "Magnificent, isn't it?" Chen observed as her team entered the conference room. Zethkar's science officer, Dr. Klix, couldn't contain herself. "Commander Chen, the radiation exposure from just observing that phenomenon should have caused cellular damage to your retinas by now." Chen turned to face the assembled aliens, and with a casual motion that made every non-human in the room recoil, she reached up and began disengaging her helmet seals. "Commander!" Zethkar shouted, rising from his chair. "The ambient radiation in this room is still—" The helmet came off with a soft hiss. Chen's dark hair fell to her shoulders as she shook her head, breathing deeply of the station's recycled air. Her brown eyes sparkled with what Zethkar's cultural database identified as mischief. "Still what?" she asked, running a hand through her hair. "Look, I appreciate the concern, but we've been monitoring the levels. This is actually pretty mild compared to some places on Earth." Dr. Klix's scanner was beeping frantically in her claws. "Impossible. The readings indicate you should be experiencing severe radiation poisoning. Your cellular structure should be breaking down." "Yeah, about that," Chen said, beginning to remove her bulky gloves. "See, there's something you folks might not know about humans. We're from a planet that orbits a G-type star, what you'd call a high radiation environment. Our ozone layer has some holes in it, so we get bathed in UV radiation daily. We actually evolved in Africa, which gets some of the most intense solar exposure on our planet." She was now working on the seals of her EVA suit. Zethkar felt his lunch threatening to make a reappearance. "But more importantly," Chen continued, stepping out of the suit entirely to reveal standard fleet utilities underneath, "our species has been playing with nuclear technology for over a century. We've had nuclear power plants, nuclear weapons, nuclear medicine. Hell, some of our submarines run on nuclear reactors and the crews live inside them for months at a time." The room was dead silent except for the continuous beeping of radiation detectors. "In fact," Chen said, pulling out a small bottle from her kit, The radiation levels here remind me of a beach vacation I took near Chernobyl last year. Beautiful sunrises. She held up the bottle. Anyone know where I can find some sunscreen? SPF 30 should do it. Maybe 50 if we're going to be here all day. Dr. Clix's voice was barely a whisper. Chernobyl. Nuclear disaster site. Happened in 1986. Great place for camping now. The wildlife has really bounced back. The radiation keeps the tourist crowds manageable. Zethkar slowly sank back into his chair. The stories were true. All of them. The humans didn't just survive in impossible conditions, they thrived in them. They had turned one of the most hostile planets in the galaxy into a vacation destination, and called the experience character building. So, Chen said, settling into a chair and crossing her legs casually, about those mining rights you've been trying to secure in the Vale Nebula. The area with all that deadly cosmic radiation? We'd like to discuss a joint venture. As the human began outlining their proposal with the same casual demeanor one might use to discuss a picnic lunch, Zethkar realized that the galaxy had been thinking about the human problem all wrong. They weren't the newest, weakest species to stumble onto the galactic stage. They were the apex predators, and the rest of the galaxy was just figuring it out. Outside the conference room windows, the radiation storm continued to rage, painting impossible colors across the void. But Commander Chen just smiled and took notes, occasionally glancing up to admire the view.